Masechet Shabbos Daf Kuf Lamed. On this year we're starting Perek Blessed milah. I'd like to welcome all the listeners on Torah Anytime, and a big thank you for Torah Anytime for hosting our shir. The Mishnah brings the Machlekes Rebbe Eliezer and Bekiva. Rebbe Eliezer holds the same way milah is deicha Shabbos, machshirei milah is also deicha Shabbos. However, Rebbe Kiva says only milah itself is deicha Shabbos, and machshirin is not deicha Shabbos. Taisus asks a kasha: how could, according to Belezer, you bring the knife of the moil to the child on Shabbos because it's machshirei milah? Machshirei milah of bringing the knife through Rosh Hashanah is Issa Deraisa, and you have a better eitzah. You should bring the child to the knife, and the child is a chai, and the klal is a chai noisetz atzmai, which is not an Issa Deraisa. On this kasha, there's three tirutzim in the Rishonim. Taisus' first teretz is that although before the milah there is an eitzah to bring the child to the knife, which would not be Issa Deraisa, after the milah, the child is considered like a kafus, like he's tied up because you just had a milah, and the baby is tzarech li'imai, needs his mother. So to bring it back, the Erechus Rabim is Issa Deraisa. So since regardless you have to be over Issa Deraisa, it's better to bring the sakin. The Rashba asks, how could you be deicha? Maybe after the milah there'll be a minakis there. The Minchas Ariel is an interesting Ga'ara. He says, you see, from this Taisus, l'chayre not like a bir halacha that we mentioned on the Samach test. The bir halacha writes that if a soldier has to be mechal Shabbos because of orders from the law, he has to wait for the latest possible time, and he can't do it early on in Shabbos because the whole heter is because it's oinus, and the oinus he could wait until the last possible time. In the beginning of Shabbos, he's not a oinus. So the Minchas Ariel asked over here also, why don't you say before the milah you're not necessary to mechal Shabbos b'yitzah deraisa? You could just bring the tinnik to the knife. Ayin Shom, what he answers, and the Chori could answer according to a pshat that we mentioned for the Sefer Shabbos Shabbosim and B'yitzchak Zurishtin on the Samach test, that it comes to explain that the Netziv writes that on Yom Tif, that's chal before Shabbos, if you have to mechal Yom Tif because of Bikuch Nefesh, it's better to mechal Yom Tif because Yom Tif is kal from Shabbos. And he says the Chori, it's not like the Bir Aloch, but he says it's different because over there it's Bikuch Nefesh, and it's already chal on you, the Bikuch Nefesh, even on Yom Tif. However, by a soldier, it's only because of oinus that's forcing you to do it. It's not like you need it, so therefore you have to wait till the last possible time. So according to that, you could say over here also, since the dchuya is because of the mitzvah or because of the nefashos, it's already meichel on you even before, when you're doing the milah, it's already ichal on you the obligation to do milah in such a oifen that there wouldn't be a sakana, so therefore you could be doicha. Taisus says the second teretz that you should kedai to bring the sakin to the tinnik de lamaris at milah to make the milah go faster. I in the Sefer Dibi Echeskel, he says, you see from this Taisus a tremendous chiddush. Why is that a reason to be doicha? Is it right? So kedei lamaris at milah. He says, you see from Taisus you saw it in the gather of zrizin makdimin lmitzvot. That zrizin makdimin lmitzvot is not a general halacha to do all mitzvahs quickly. It's a milah in the guf ha-mitzvah, that the guf ha-mitzvah has to be done bezrizus. So milah, the same way milah itself could be deicha Shabbos, so the din to do it bezrizus is also deicha Shabbos. In the Sefer Rinas Yitzchak, he brings the same raya, and he brings a raya also from the Gemara in Megillah that says that Megillah is deicha avoida because the Kohanim will listen to Megillah before doing avoida. Why is that considered deicha avoida? Like go to avoida afterwards. So you see that since they postponing, going to avoida to listen to Megillah, that's considered being doich avoida. You see that zrizin makdimin lmitzvot is a chelik from the guf mitzvah. It's important to point out that there's tremendous nafkaminas in this chakira, that it's possible that it makes a difference in many nidoinim spoken. The achronim discuss is zrizin makdimin more important than Rav Amhadus Melech. Is it doicha hider mitzvah? So it's yitochen, it's totally in the shayla, since zrizin makdimin is a milah in the guf mitzvah. The Chedushi Aran says a teretz to Taisis is kasha, that he says that one, you say that you should bring the sakin or milah in your left hand, the same way we find in the parak before that pikor nefashos deicha Shabbos kol heichad efshel shnuyim mishaninon. So the Chedushi Aran says that milah b'Shabbos is different. It's hutra, it's kechoil l'chol davar. So therefore, you don't have to go and minimize the Melech Shabbos. And the Ikar Shaila, if milah b'Shabbos is hutra dchuya, the achronim are ma'irich on it. The achronim speak out. That's totally the machlokes Mechaber and Ramah. Mechaber says that you can't be mol and para with two moilim. However, the Ramah says the same way. But in the avoid of the Beis Hamikdash, you could be doicha with many koyanim. So who did by milah, you could do with many moilim. So it sounds like the Ramah's understanding that milah is hutra, ayin the goyin, ayin shagas aryeh is ma'irich about the shayla. Ayin Megini Shloima on Taisis of and Beis, that is a similar discussion, that he also says that milah b'Shabbos is hutra. He says, however, milah b'tzaras is not hutra because milah b'Shabbos, but in the ikar mitzvahs milah, it was stated in the situation that's b'deicha Shabbos, because Akorach milah comes out on Shabbos. However, milah b'tzaras is not necessarily, does it have to be deicha tzaras, so therefore milah b'tzaras is dchuya. The Chasam Sofer asks a tremendous kasha on the Megini Shloim, which is the kasha on the Ran, that the Gemara later wants to compare milah b'tzaras to milah b'Shabbos. If milah b'Shabbos is hutra and milah b'tzaras is dchuya, it's tzarich how they could be compared. So there's two mahalchim to answer this kasha. The Chasam Sofer writes that milah b'Shabbos is hutra, that's only like a belezer, that machshirei milah is deicha Shabbos. So the same way machshirin, which is not necessarily needed for the mitzvah, is deicha Shabbos, so you see it's hutra. Together, the heter is that it's hutra. However, according to the Dan, that we paskin milah b'Shabbos, machshirin is not deicha Shabbos, the halacha is that it's dchuya. So the Gemara over there is comparing milah b'Shabbos to milah b'tzaras, that's going the didan that we paskin. The machshin is not deicha Shabbos. The Netziv and the Misod over here has an arichis about the shayla is milah b'Shabbos is hutra and it's dchuya, and he says even if it's hutra, it still could be compared to the case of dchuya, and it can be learned out one from another. He says, you see, it's not mechulik totally, it's just a svara ba'alma that since it's impossible to do a milah without a heter of Shabbos, it has a halacha of hutra. To explain the machlokes Netziv and the Chasam Sofer, ayin the Kovetz Ha'aretz, he says two tzadim to explain the gather of hutra. Either the heter, it comes mikoyach the mitzvah, but the heter mikoyach the mitzvah is a stronger heter, and even in a situation that's not necessarily needed for the mitzvah is also nitcha. And his different side, he says, and Be'emet says mavur like that, and this is going on Daf Kuf Lamed Gimel, that the ikar iser of Shabbos was not said b'makom mitzvah. The gather of hutra is not that the mitzvah pushes it away, is that the iser wasn't said. So that's the machlokes, Chasam Sofer and the Netziv. The Chasam Sofer holds it's a halacha that the ikar iser wasn't said, so you can't learn out and can't compare dchuya to hutra. However, the Netziv is understanding that the mitzvah is deicha the iser, but it's deicha in a stronger way, even in what's not necessarily needed for the mitzvah.